the pitch. Swung on and a shot deep down the right side. Is it fair? Hits the foul pole. Rays win it. Taylor Walls walks it off. And a liner in the right, a base hit. Here comes Joy. Braun heads to the plate. Rays win it. What a finish.
And third.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the FL Teams 2023 Tampa Bay Rays preview show. We are here to talk about the Tampa Bay Rays going into the 2023 season. I am Jeff Macolino, host of Bolts and Bats in the Bay here on FL Teams and FL Teams Live pretty much every Wednesday night. So make sure you check it out and subscribe to FL Teams for all of your top Florida sports coverage. Even going to have a journalist, I'm sure we'll talk about this on Wednesday, in the Final Four in Houston. So, legitimate sports coverage. FL Teams follow on all social medias. But hey, we're here to talk about the Tampa Bay Rays. And I just want to quickly walk you through pretty much every position that we're looking at here. The starting pitching, the rotation, the bullpen, the infield, the outfield, and just kind of look ahead at what's going to happen in 2023. So bear with me as I try to navigate this season and all of these cool videos all by myself. So we'll see how this goes. But let's start things off with, let's talk about the rotation, shall we?
Swing and miss. And a swing and miss. Ohtani is out of there on 2. And he gets him. Well,
along the third base side of the rubber and pitches, and there's strike 3 called.
And yet we were just in a front row seat.
Vasquez is out on strike. And Trout is out on.
All right. So seems like even those studs like Ohtani and Mike Trout had some problems with Shane McClanahan. He is the opening day starter. He is the ace. He's the guy that I predicted in the FL Teams MLB preview show of 2022 to win the Cy Young Award. He was the American League starting pitcher in the All-Star game. He struggled a little bit. He had a couple of real bad luck games with a lot of soft contact, and then he also missed time with injury, which is probably more so of the culprit. So Shane McClanahan will be the opening day starter. He is the ace of this rotation, and he is one of the best starting pitchers in all of baseball. I have no doubts when I say that. He's going to have a special season. The Rays bolstered their rotation a little bit by signing the most expensive free agent in franchise history, even though it's not that much money. But they signed Zach Eflin, formerly of the Phillies. He's actually a local guy. He is going to be starting game 2, which will be Saturday, April 1st, April Fool's Day, against the Tigers. And Jeffrey Springs will pitch in the third game. Drew Rasmussen will be 4. And Josh Fleming wins the 5th starter role. I was somewhat surprised. I kind of thought Yanni Chirinos may have had this one. But Josh Fleming, so the Rays going lefty with McClanahan, righty with Eflin, lefty with Jeffrey Springs, who had a dominant, amazing spring. Nope. Same word intended. Drew Rasmussen, another righty, and then going back to the lefty for Josh Fleming. We'll see how often the Rays actually use all 5 men. I'm not sure. But they've got Tyler Glass now, who suffered an oblique injury in spring training. He should be back in May. So the 5th starter, Josh Fleming, good luck to you. He had kind of a rough 2022. By kind of a rough, I mean a really rough. He had a 1.89 whip. That's not good. Only 35 innings pitched, a lot of hits given up, a lot of runs given up. He had a 6.43 ERA. He had a rough 2022. Really, numbers wise, not a good 2021 either. He was very good in 2020, but that was 5 starts. So we'll see with Josh Fleming. Keep your eye out for Yanni Chirinos, who, of course, has missed basically most of 3 years due to injury. He'll be starting in AAA, but if Josh Fleming has a rough start and they do need a 5th starter, which they do have a pretty heavy schedule aside from the first week or so, that probably will need a 5th starter for most of the start of the season. And Tyler Glass now allegedly very close to picking up a ball. He's got to build his arm back up, though. So we'll see. Sometime in May is allegedly when he'll come back. He, of course, missed most of 2021 and almost all of 2022 when he had Tommy John surgery. Came back, pitched brilliantly in the playoffs and a couple games at the end of 2022. So the Rays will get a huge boost in May when their 5th starter, Tyler Glass, now joins the rotation. This was a team, look, it's not a lot of change in the starting rotation. I'll get deeper into it here when we jump into the bullpen. Might as well jump into the bullpen. I don't know about now. So let me get my little thing queued up here, and let's jump into the bullpen.
Strike pitch. And he got it. He struck him out. The slide.
Has a nasty pitch, breaking the ball down and in, and he got him to swing over the top. Idiots. Fosho struck him out looking.
All right, well, that was Jason Adam. You may have seen him pitching for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic, 0 ERA in the World Baseball Classic as well. He and Pete Fairbanks are kind of the anchor of this bullpen. Pete Fairbanks was just so good last year. Unfortunately, he missed a lot of the season, but Pete Fairbanks was dominant. I probably should have put his video up. The Rays are a team that don't have a closer. They pitch guys based on the highest leverage situation. So you might see Pete Fairbanks and Jason Adam, who are, I would say, unquestionably the 2 best high leverage guys in the Rays bullpen. You might see them in the 7th and 8th inning and see someone else in the 9th. That's the way the Rays do their bullpen. And frankly, they're smart to do it that way because you want your best pitchers facing the best hitters. If the bottom of the order is coming up in the 9th, you can have another guy in there. Looking over the Rays bullpen, at least those who will be healthy. Sean Armstrong is on the disabled list, or the injured list. I'm sorry. I'm old school. I still call it the DL instead of the IL. Pete Fairbanks, Jason Adams, the backbone of this bullpen. Jalen Beeks, a lefty. Ryan Thompson, the sidearm submariner from the right-hand side. We had a real rough start in 2022, but really pick things up on the back half of the season. I was calling for him to be DFA'd, and I was wrong. He figured it out as the season progressed. Colin Poche, I mentioned Sean Armstrong, probably going to start on the injured list. Garrett Clevenger. Kevin Kelly, a Rule 5 guy, has made the 26-man, at least the initial 26-man roster. So he needs to stay on the roster all year to keep control of him. And Calvin Fauché, not Colin Poche, is also in the bullpen. Look, the Rays were 3rd in the American League last year in earned run average. There's no reason to suspect that's going to change much, whether it's 1 or whether it's 5. They're going to be a top 5 pitching team in baseball. They had some really bad injury luck on both sides, pitching and hitting last year. And the pitching just doesn't suffer. Maybe for a small, small amount when Matt Whistler has to eat a ton of innings. But there's going to be ebbs and flows when it comes to baseball over a 162 game seasons. Guys are going to get hurt, but the Rays pitching staff continues to be consistently spectacular. The Rays front office finds pitchers no matter where they need to, and they make it work. So I have nothing but high expectations for the Rays pitching staff, the bullpen. I really hope Pete Fairbanks stays healthy for a full season. I think Jason Adams probably should have been an all-star last year. And, his numbers were just phenomenal. And Pete Fairbanks, after his first few outings, which were not rough, but a little shaky, he just became unhittable down the stretch. And remember, the Rays got swept 2-0 in that first round series against the Cleveland Guardians. The Rays scored 1 run on a solo home run by Jose Siri in that entire 24 innings of offense that they got, because the second game went 15 innings and the Rays lost 1-0. And Corey Kluber is now the opening day starter for the Red Sox. So, good luck, Boston. And look, Corey Kluber was fine last year. I think they definitely upgraded with Zach Eflin. The bullpen, really, other than Kevin Kelly, the Rule 5 pick they got, not new names on this list. Same with the rotation. These are old names. And even the guys who didn't make the team, the Luis Patiños, who you're going to see this season, Yanni Chirinos, you're going to see him this season for sure. Those guys are major league talents. Patino hopefully gets things figured out. If anyone's asking, Shane Baz, big pitching prospect, he's out for the whole year with his injury. So hopefully, obviously, he was a highly ranked prospect in the Rays system. Hopefully, he bounces back. Now, let's hop on over to the infield, shall we? And sorry, Dwayne Stats is already talking, but told you it's going to be rough. Here is let's talk about the Rays infield a bit, shall we?
There he goes. The pitch swung on. Drive hit high and deep to left center. That baby is gone. Home run for Franco. That's a shot high and deep on the line, and that baby's gone. On the first pitch, Wander Franco puts the Rays on the board. Up the right side, down the line. Is it fair? Fair ball. He has hit it out again. Wander Franco's second home run of the night.
Maybe looking to make an exit.
Hey, there's a shot high and deep to right off the batter Franco, and that baby's gone.
All right, Wander Franco. He only played 83 games last season, by the way, because of his injuries. Bigger than him, look, I was doing an AL East roundtable last week at some point, and I kept talking about the biggest key for the Rays this year is Brandon Lau coming back from his back injuries. This is a guy who hit 39 home runs in 2021, and last year was injured off and on, really just wasn't effective at the plate. I think he had 8 home runs. This is a guy, and we're talking the middle of the infield, second base Lau and shortstop Franco, who both missed about half the season. And those are the guys the Rays are relying on for a lot of their offense. And look, if Taylor Walls is going to have over 400 plate appearances again, the Rays offense is going to struggle. This was a team that I mentioned they were third in pitching. They were 11th out of 15 American League teams in hitting. That's not going to cut it. They got to do better than that because this is a competitive division and there's offensive talent in this division. As good as the pitching is, the Rays need to be able to put up some runs. And the Rays infield, especially the middle of the infield, is really relied upon for a lot of that. Brandon Lau is the best pure power hitter on this team. There's zero doubt. Every indication he's played well in spring. He's played throughout the spring. He's been healthy. Back problems are nothing to take lightly, especially when you're talking about a hitter. I mean, there's a lot of torque put on your spine every single day when you're swinging that bat. So hopefully Brandon Lau's got everything in line with his back. I certainly sympathize with him. I'm not demonizing the guy, but hopefully he has everything good to go this year. Same with Wander Franco, who had a quad tightness. He is technically questionable for opening day, but the tests sound like we're good, and they do expect him to be ready for Thursday. Wander Franco, of course, super young, signed that massive 11-year contract extension with the Rays at 20 or 21 years old. He's a guy the Rays need to take a step forward. The first couple of weeks of last season, it looked like he might be an MVP candidate, both offensively and defensively. The Rays need that. Looking around the rest of their infield, what you're most likely to see most frequently, I believe, is Yandy Diaz starting at first base, and Isaac Paredes, who was the guy, the player they got for Austin Meadows last offseason, spring training, right before the season started. He tied with Randy Arozarena for the team lead in home runs last year with 20, but Paredes didn't play all that much. So, you're looking at a guy, he definitely had struggles with strikeouts, getting the ball in play, hit barely over 200, but he also in limited at bats did hit 20 home runs. So you're looking at a guy who offensively might be able to produce quite a bit. Yandy, of course, Diaz had a spectacular season, just on-base machine, should be the leadoff man every single day that he can play. He is moving over to first base. He plays some first base. He has for years. He's kind of been first and third base. I wouldn't be surprised to see him sometimes against right-handed hitters move over and play third base, since Luke Raley raked in spring training. And Luke Raley has also been practicing at first base. I would not be surprised against righties to see Luke Raley get some time at first base and Yandy Diaz at third. But of course, we'll see, because I do think the Rays want to give Isaac Paredes a lot of at-bats to really see how he can do over a full season. And Luke Raley, of course, against righties can also DH, because I guess I'll bring up DH in this spot too. Harold Ramirez is probably your DH, and he hit 300 last year. All credit to him. He seems like a great guy in the clubhouse. I don't want to see him hit against right-handed pitching that much, frankly. So hopefully Luke Raley gets a lot of opportunity after the way he hit in spring. They say he made some adjustments. We'll see. Last offseason, Josh Lowe was the big guy that we talked about, and that's why they traded Austin Meadows. They thought they had a stud in Josh Lowe. So all that being said, I guess we're transitioning to the outfield. So let's do that right now.
One, two, liner, deep, left, gone! It's tied! First base was open, though Romero got in front of him right away, 0-2. Great speed at second with Thomas. Arozarena right center field, hammers it in the gap, going to the wall, scoring is Thomas. Arozarena to second with a double. 4-1 Mexico.
Young pitcher on the mound, and that's a fastball. I mean, you cannot get a fastball by him in an.
Arozarena, fair ball into the corner. Barnes will score. They can't stop him. 8-2. How you like me now?
Now watch where this breaking ball ends up. Over the plate, it just spins and didn't.
Arozarena hammers that ball, and it's going to get to the wall. Barnes around second, headed for third, and he's going to score. Mexico. 3-1. How you like me now? Ground ball. That's fair. Down the line. Arias scores. Thomas scores. Barnes coming home. He will score. Mexico. 6-2.
What a play.
All night long. 3-2. He runs. Rivera, fly ball left center field. Hit well. Rosarena back, and he will leap up and make the catch. Melendez has to hustle to get back, and he will. Unreal. Okamoto, a high fly ball, deep left field. Rosarena at the wall. He leaps, and he caught it. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Sees the wall, takes a peek, and says, okay, here we go. Lift off. It's the only thing he hadn't done yet. He's made a great catch. Now he's robbed a home run.
All right. I had to show a lot more of Randy Arozarena. Kudos to him for an amazing showing in the World Baseball Classic. And look, the Rays need him to bring that into. Obviously, he's not going to produce like he did in the World Baseball Classic on a day-to-day basis, but they need that energy. They need that swagger. They need that on the field. Look, he had a good season last year. He had 20 home runs, 32 stolen bases. His counting numbers were good, but he struck out a lot. He didn't get on base that well. You know, he was a good above-average player. He in the beginning of last season made a lot of miscues in the outfield. Frankly, I don't mind his base running miscues all that much because they're almost entirely made on the side of being aggressive, and I prefer a guy who's going to be aggressive and run into outs than a guy who, a guy who runs in outs because he's not mentally engaged. Randy Arozarena doesn't have a problem being mentally engaged, I don't think, base running, but it seems like he sometimes maybe does offensively and offensively and defensively. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. If he can bring the intensity and consistency more frequently to the plate, obviously it's 162 games. It's not a tournament. Let's face it, these guys are humans. Not every at bat has the intensity of the World Baseball Classic or the 2020 postseason when he was the most dominant player on the field the entire time. They do need a lot from him. And look, the rest of the outfield, it's going to be interesting. They've got Jose Siri is taken over in center field, and the Rays traded for him and believe in him a lot. He's kind of the heir apparent to Kevin Kiermaier. He's fast. He's got a good glove. He's a good base runner. I think he's got a lot more upside offensively than Kevin Kiermaier. I mean, there's no doubt he has more upside than Kevin Kiermaier offensively. We'll see if he has the consistency defensively over a full 162. His base running seems dynamic, to say the least. So I expect a lot of steals from Jose Siri, especially with the rules that are really kind of encouraging steals. Same with Randy Arozarena. He stole 32 bases when you had unlimited pickoff moves in smaller bases. Now, kind of a limit on your pickoff moves, bigger bases. I expect Arozarena to probably swipe 40 bags, but I'd like to see him hit 30 home runs too. And I'd like to see his on-base percentage creep up, his strikeouts creep down. Get on base more often with these rules that encourage base running, and you're a much more valuable player. So Randy Arozarena, I hope to see him continue his momentum from the World Baseball Classic. And look, the Rays offense, they did not augment their offense much. They got Luke Raley and Josh Lowe, who probably going to platoon off and on between DH, right field, left field, maybe center field at times. They're both lefties. The three guys who will be starting on opening day, I'm sure, especially since they're starting against a lefty. Arozarena in left, Jose Siri in right, in center, and Manuel Margot in right. Manuel Margot was off to a brilliant start last season before he suffered a serious knee injury and missed half the season himself. So you're talking about offensively a team that finished 11th, but you're also talking about a team that missed Manuel Margot, Wander Franco, and Brandon Lau for like half a season each. They also missed Yandy Diaz for a bit. I think Taylor Walls was second on the team in plate appearances, or maybe third. That's too many plate appearances. Taylor Walls still on the team. Great utility infielder, maybe a pinch runner at times, but you don't want him getting a lot of at-bats. Josh Lowe was a guy, again, they traded Austin Meadows because they thought Josh Lowe could be their everyday guy in right field. He failed last year. Failed miserably. Even when his bat kind of started clicking at a certain point when he got called back up later in the season, base running and defense, he always made very visible follies. He seemed like consistently he would make a terrible play, not even once a week, multiple times per week. Just kind of inexplicable, whether it's a ball hitting off his face in the outfield that went for an inside the park home run that should have been a 4-base error, just getting picked off at first base. He had some rough times out there, but he's athletic as hell. They need him. Especially against right-handed pitching. They need Josh Lowe and Luke Raley to pick up the slack. If those two guys have good seasons, not great seasons, just good seasons. I'm talking Cliff Floyd and Eric Hinsky in 2008. Is too much to ask? Maybe. I know those are two veterans and these are two rookies. But, I mean, that's the kind of production they need. And if you look at the number of production from those two guys, it's not out of the question, I would say. They need just steady presence. Add Gabe Gross into the 2008 mix. They just need a steady presence who can hit against right-handed pitching. Because, look, I think they're solid against left-handed pitching. And I didn't mention, I should have mentioned this in the infield. I don't know why I skipped it, but it's about how I feel about the position. Christian Bethancourt and Francisco Mejia. I didn't talk about the catching position. They're both fine. They're both fine. Bethancourt has a cannon of an arm, which maybe will help with the new rules that encourage base running. Mejia is a switch hitter, so I expect to see him more against righties than Bethancourt. Bethancourt had a good season last year, and he's had a fun career if you look at his, when he was in the majors and all that. So basically, I don't know. I've given you an outlook kind of at each position. The Rays season is going to depend on one thing to me. It's run production. There's no question. The fielding is going to be fine. The pitching is going to be above average to elite. The run production needs to be better than subpar, which it was last season. It was below average. It was not good. And the Rays still made the postseason. And still, their pitchers held the Guardians to 3 runs in 2 games. And that was, 23 innings of hitting. The Rays offense really let down the pitchers. So, look, there's going to be games where fans are mad at Kevin Cash because that's the easy thing to do. That's kind of the lazy way out. Blame the manager for everything. There's going to be games the Rays win that they should have lost, and games they lost they should have won. The Rays pitching is going to, in general, be the strength and backbone of this team. But if the offense can stay healthy, which was a big problem last year, stay healthy and actually produce. I do hope Cash puts forward a lineup that's a little more consistent, see if maybe they can get something to gel. Because, look, offensively, you've got Yandy Diaz, whose numbers are incredibly speak for themselves as far as being able to be a leadoff hitter. You got Wander Franco, Randy Arozarena, and Brandon Lau. When those 4 guys are healthy, they are 4 very good hitters. They should always be at the top of your lineup in one way or another. Yandy and Randy are righties. Wander's a switch hitter. Brandon Lau is a lefty. You've got those 4 guys should pretty much always be at the top of the lineup, and then you can mix and match from there, whether it's Lowe and Josh Lowe. Sorry, it's Brandon Lau and Josh Lowe, by the way, if you don't know. But Josh Lowe, Luke Raley, hopefully they prove to be middle of the lineup guys. Jose Siri, probably, I generally think of him as the 9 hitter, even though I think offensively he's talented enough to hit. higher in the lineup. Maybe. We'll see if I'm right about that. Manuel Margot, again, at least against lefties, he and Harold Ramirez will probably be in the 5 and 6 spots. And then the catcher, of course, needs to fit in there somewhere. So, and then Paredes, again, especially against lefties, he's probably a 5-6 hitter, maybe bat him 7th around the board. I don't know. It should be an interesting season. I've got high expectations for the Rays to compete in the American League East, maybe win the American League East. And certainly, I would be surprised if the Rays do not make the postseason, especially the expanded version that we have now. So things are about to get rocking and rolling, folks. Thursday, March 30th at Tropicana Field. Shane McClanahan against Eduardo Rodriguez at 3:10 p.m. Eastern Time. The Rays will get their 2023 campaign underway. And then Saturday and Sunday, game 2 and 3 of the season. Zach Eflin again starting game 2. Jeffrey Springs starting Sunday's matinee. And then they go just for a quick 3-game trip up to Washington. Again, it's going to be Drew Rasmussen on Monday, Josh Fleming on Tuesday, Shane McClanahan on the series finale. That's a Wednesday 1:05 game against the Washington Nationals. Then back home at the Trop. Folks, it's an exciting season we've got ahead. If you're a Rays fan, hit the comments. Let us know what your predictions are. And, hit me up on Twitter. I'll be trying to stay active there during the games. I'm at St. J Mac. You can hit me up during the games. Let me know what you're thinking. I'll appreciate that because I'll probably be watching the game in misery. Make sure you're subscribed to FL Teams on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and go to flteams.com for all of your top Florida sports news. Hey, go Rays. We'll leave you with this. Someone I considered a friend of mine from my time with the Rays organization. Rest in peace, and God bless to Dave Wills and his family. We'll leave you with some of his great calls with the Rays. Again, FL Teams, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see how this Rays season turns out.
Now the 0-1, the Lowry. On its way. Swinging a ground ball to second. This should do it. Hockey has it. Takes it to second himself. This improbable season has another chapter to it. The Rays are going to the World Series. Rays beat the Red Sox 3-1. Rays win. Rays win. Rays win.
The 2-2 from Wade. Swing and a drive down the right field line to the corner. It's gone. Are you kidding me? Dan Johnson with 2 strikes, 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th has just hit it out, and the Rays are tied at 7. There's still life.
Do it.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a high fly ball, left center field and deep, back to the wall and gone. Evan Longoria with a home run into the left central seats, and he gives the Rays a 3-2 lead here in the 9th. Number 14 for Longo, and he puts the Rays back on top.
There's a swing and a high fly ball. Left field and deep. Back at it now to the wall, and it's gone. Evan Longoria with a 3-run home run, and he has tied things up at 3. And we got a whole new ball game here at Tropicana Field. Swing and a high fly ball. Right center field. Get out of here! It is gone! Splash down! It's ice cream time! Jose Lobaton with yet another walk-off, and the Rays survive to play another game! Rays win! Rays win! Rays win!